Hello, everybody. Welcome to PsychicWorld.com's interview series. Tonight, or today, depending on where you're at in the world, I am going to be interviewing Kimberly Thalken, and she is an internationally known, tested, and certified medium, master energy healer, and psychic reader, and she's agreed to do an interview with us today, and I'm really, really excited. Thank you for being here, Kimberly. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you too. Thank you for taking the time to share this opportunity with me.
Oh gosh, I'm thrilled to have you here. So I was just looking at your work, and it looks like you have a really kind of cool background as far as kind of starting out in the corporate world and then discovering your talents. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll just say I would have never been able to imagine this is where I would be today. This is the work that I would be doing. It was the turn of events in my life that led me to this place were very unexpected. But this is my life's purpose, my life's passion. And I love the work that I do. And like you said, I was in the corporate world, and I left that world to do what I meant to do, which is, as you mentioned, I am a psychic medium. I do a lot of energy healing work, and I'm also a hypnotherapist. And I have my radio show that I co-host with my partner on OmTimes radio called Inspired Living with Mark and Tim. But as you did suggest, I did start out with a more traditional kind of background, where when I went to college, I went to graduate school, I got my master's in business, and I thought that that's where I was going to stay, is working up the corporate ladder in the business world. I went into right after graduate school, I started off my career in the entertainment industry, which is where I stayed, because I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, although I recently moved residences to Richmond, Virginia. I still my office is in California, and I see clients in Richmond as well. But I started off in the entertainment industry on the business end of the entertainment industry, not the creative business. So mostly in sales and licensing of content, selling films and TV shows to different markets, and also business development in the entertainment industry too. But it was during that time where I was introduced to psychic, and had my first psychic reading, and from there became more and more interested in metaphysics, not knowing that I too have my own psychic abilities, as we all do. I thought you had to kind of be born with this special gift or talent in order to open up, or in order to be able to see things psychically. But I worked with one of my friends, who's my mentor, and she helped me to open up and develop my own psychic abilities. And that's where the story, that's how it all started. But I opened up my abilities even while I was still in the corporate world, and I stayed there for several years with this awareness. And then the doors started to close on me in the corporate world, because that's not where I was meant to be anymore. So, and I was receiving strongly in meditation, this could be a viable option for you. As always, the messages are always very subtle, but very powerful. And sure enough, this is where I was meant to be. So here I am.
Right. Oh, I love your story, and especially how, it unfolds, like you said. And when you're meant to be in one place and you're not kind of where you're meant to be, then it starts nudging you in the proper direction.
Well, isn't that the truth? I mean, I was interviewing for positions that I should have definitely, without a doubt, gotten. It was like my exact background. I came in highly recommended. I had everything going for me. There was no reason why I shouldn't be getting these positions that I interviewed for. But then things started happening. The position was eliminated. There's a buyouts of companies, just things like that, where the doors weren't opening. And I started thinking, well, maybe I could do a little bit of this work on the side. I started doing a little bit at a time, and then all of a sudden, it became clearer and clearer to me, well, this is actually where I belong full time. So I made the transition into doing the work that I do today full time, walked away from the corporate world, and really couldn't imagine going back there. It's I've changed so much as a person, and this is the work that I love. I love the people that I work with, and I love what I learned just by doing this work.
Right. Oh, yeah, because when you're doing this work, you can't help but evolve at the same time.
Absolutely. I learn from every person that I work with because everybody is on their own path, going through their own sets of challenges, and the guidance that comes through helps me too. Helps me
Right.
too. So that coupled with just the time that I now have to spend in meditation. I have to spend time in meditation for the work that I do, but it's also a place that I want to be. But it's just being committed to that on a daily basis. You learn so much just to that process too. Learn
Right.
a lot about yourself and a lot about different things of a spiritual nature, different topics, different areas that they cover with you in meditation. And then you also learn what it is you learn through the clients that you work with as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're constantly learning and evolving, which makes it dynamic and also very interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Now, you brought up a really interesting point another time as well, is when you're working with your clients and everything, a lot of times what they're going through kind of mirrors something that you're going through in your own life as well. And so the messages can be, it's how those messages come.
Yes, and it is kind of an interesting way in which that happens. And sometimes I'll be giving a message and I'll know, oh, wait a sec, that message is actually for me too. There's something about it that catches my attention and makes me realize that I'm supposed to be hearing that as well. But I've also had situations where I've been on my own path, learning what it is my soul needs to learn, and then I have, as soon as I learn that, I have a client come in who is going through something that then, because of what it is I just learned myself, I'm able to then help them through it. So it is very interesting, the synchronicities that can happen when you are doing this work.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I totally agree. You mentioned that a friend of yours helped you to kind of open up to your gifts. And can you tell us a little bit how your, education or how you kind of built your talents or,
Sure. Sure. She was actually, I would actually go to her for readings. And one day I told her, I really wish that I could help people the way you've helped me. And she said, well, I can help you open up your own psychic abilities. I thought, really? Like, I I can do this too? I never thought that was possible. And she said, yeah, I'll help you. And I said, okay. So I was actually working at home at that time. And she said, well, start by sitting in silence for 5 minutes a day with the intention of opening up your own psychic abilities and receiving guidance. And I thought, 5 minutes of silence a day, that's easy. 5 minutes, everybody has 5 minutes. I can do that. And I was working from home, so it's very easy for me to step aside and to take the time to sit in silence for 5 minutes. And what I had learned was, or what I started to experience was, 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes, turns into 20 minutes, turns into a half hour, turns into an hour. The next thing I knew, sometimes I look at the clock and, oh my goodness, an hour has gone by and I've just been sitting here in silence. And that was because I was feeling the outpouring of love that we oftentimes feel when we sit in meditation, especially sitting in silence, is a very powerful way of connecting to yourself and also to spirit. But I feel an overwhelming sense of joy that I've never felt before. Almost like, and I've said this before, but it's like drinking 20 pots of coffee. Excitement, really happy, joyful. My goodness, wow, elation. Like you never felt before. And so because of that, who doesn't want more and more of that, right? So I started sitting in silence for longer and longer periods of time, where you're experiencing joy and love, and it's really a place that you don't want to leave when you start experiencing it so new. Although I still feel that now, even after years of meditation. But that's really how it started for me, and everything opened up fairly quickly, really in the matter of 1 week, 1 weekend, I should say. I was home and I was living by myself at that time, and I started picking up on thoughts and feelings of loved ones that had passed, and then also receiving my guides were like chatterboxes. I couldn't get them to stop. It was like a constant conversation going on in my head of life lessons, things that they were teaching me about my own life, about the life of people around me, my friends at that time, understanding why they were having the challenges they were having. And even at that time, I wasn't even quite, I don't think I even understood, wow, I'm channeling this information now, or I'm a medium, or I was just enjoying the process and enjoying this knowledge that they were sharing with me. Everything about life seemed to come together and made sense. The things that were happening all of a sudden all made sense. So I was enjoying that process. And then one evening when I was sleeping, I was woken up and really was bombarded by messages. And that was scary. That was not a comfortable experience. So I then talked to my mentor about that, and she helped me to understand what had happened, the channels that I was opening up, and what that all meant, so that I could learn to understand this new awareness that I stepped into, and also how to control it, so that everything was happening in a way that was comfortable for me.
Right, because I'm sure that, even sitting in a coffee house can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming if you're working with your guides and if you're getting communication from other people's loved ones who have passed on. And, I know a lot of times people get messages and, they're very insistent. Hey,
Yes. Yes, sometimes that happens. I don't walk around, open up, trying to pick up things around everybody around me, because that would just be way too much for me, and I don't think that necessarily might be a healthy way of being. But it's when I sit down to work, and then that's when I'm open and receptive, and that's when I'm ready to work. But like you said, sometimes I might be out, and I have had this happen on occasions where, a loved one might come through, and there is a little bit of a nudge to deliver a message, or even from the angelic realm, not even just loved ones, but maybe spiritual guidance that that someone might be able might help somebody. So, and I don't go around just delivering messages, to people I don't know or whatever. But if I do receive something, the times that I have, I will ask permission. But it's not all the time, and it's not all the time that happens, and it's not all the time that I'm picking up stuff. It's mainly when I'm settled in sitting and focused with the intention of working.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I was reading that you do automatic writing as well.
I do. I do a lot of automatic writing when I'm in meditation, and sometimes it's unexpected. I'm not intending to do it. I just sit down with the intention of sitting still, and just sitting in a place of receptivity. Something is going to come through. I'm in a place to allow that to happen, and so I will receive guidance that way. About about my life, about worldly events, things like that. Recently, in fact, I sat down in meditation unexpectedly. The Federation of Light came through, and some people may already be aware of the Federation of Light. I know other people channel them as well. But this is the second time that that's happened. So with them. But I sat down meditation, and just they just started sharing information with me about the way and the direction the Earth and humanity is moving towards this place called the New Earth. And a lot of people have heard that term, the New Earth. And so their message always offers hope and inspiration about where we are and where we're moving, because people need to be reassured that everything is okay, that we are in fact moving in a very good direction despite what sometimes may be happening in the world or what they see on TV, certainly the way the media portrays the world, because they do a good job of instilling fear in people. And not that we don't have to be mindful of, you know, what's happening around us, because certainly there are things that are not good that's taking place right now. But they don't do enough to share about all of the good things that are happening around us. So people, tend to live in a place of fear because of that. And so the thing that really inspires me with the Federation of Light is that they offer messages of hope and encouragement, and affirm that we are in fact moving to a place where humanity, where consciousness is going to be raising our own consciousness, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we live, the way we see things, the way we understand life. All of that is shifting for us, so that we ultimately live from a foundation of love for ourselves, and love for one another, love for the earth, and love for the animals, and really all of creation, which then moves us to a place of being able to live from a place of balance and harmony. And so that is a very promising message, and one that I think I would love for more people to hear. So if you'd like to learn more about those messages, I would love for you to check out my blog on that. They've come through twice for me, and they're quite lengthy sometimes with the information that comes through, but you can find it at my website at lovefirst.info. That's lovefirst.info. There's also some other channeled work on there as well from the archangels. So yeah, if that's something of interest, then I welcome you to visit my page and to see what they have to say.
I just posted the link for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I just, so whomever's listening knows, I don't, they come through, when the Federation comes through, they talk about whatever topics it is they want to talk about as it relates to the New Earth. So, and that's where we go with the message. So in this last blog post, they talk a lot about the animal kingdom, and how the animal kingdom is evolving, and how our relationship, and how humanity is evolving, and therefore how the relationship between humanity and the animal kingdom will be evolving together. In addition to how humanity is evolving, the importance of understanding our life's purpose, our passions and talents, because, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I feel like a lot of the people that come to me now, at some point in the conversation, they want to talk about their life's purpose, because they recognize that there's more to life than what they're experiencing. And they want to bring in greater happiness. They want to know, they want to be living a life that is more purposeful and meaningful. They want to know how to do that. And that's exactly what the Federation talks about, is the importance of paying attention to that, so that, because whenever we're living passionately or doing the things that we're passionate about, those talents that we've been given in life, it brings in happiness. And so ultimately it'll make you happy, but ultimately it serves the best and the highest good for all involved, because that happiness is then shared with other people. And as you'll notice in their messaging and the direction that we are moving in, is that it is about that we are one, that we are all connected, and so how each of us feels affects how that next person feels. So when we do things that bring in happiness for ourselves, that benefits everybody else around us. So those are just some of the things that they talk about, the notion of we are one, we are all connected. And I know a lot of people hear that. I hear that too. Sometimes it's like you hear it, but you may not understand, well, what does that mean? How are we all connected? Is that really true? Am I really connected to somebody over in Afghanistan and somebody over in Poland and, wherever? And that is really true. And so their messages help tie in how it comes into being.
Right. Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying they help us understand how that is so, and how the direction we are moving in is we're going to be more aware of that connection, because it'll be within us and a part of us. And actually what they say too is that we will desire that connection, because a lot of people are living their lives in silos, for themselves. This is my world, and I want to do what's going to make me happy, and I want to know what's in it for me, and it's all about me. And that certainly is not where we're heading. So that paradigm is going to be shifting. And for people who resist that shift, it's probably going to become very uncomfortable, because it's not going to be really, we're being called, really. It's a calling that we, this connection. It's a calling, because we are here to live our lives, but yet to be of service to one another.
Right.
So that, living in our own silos with, blinders on to our own little worlds, it's going to be more about, we're going to be moving away from what's in it for me to, what's in it for all of us, or what can I do to help everybody around me.
Right. Well, that's how it is, though, too. I mean, when you think about it, humans and the whole world has evolved with symbiotic relationships. It's never been one organism, one this, one that, one the other thing. It's always been, a combination of everything together, leading to the next step. And unfortunately, though, we've gotten so caught up in our own silos and in our own worlds that we've forgotten how truly connected we all are. And so it's really hard these days, like you said, for people to kind of see beyond their own nose in some cases.
That's a funny way to say, yeah, that's right, beyond their own nose, that's right. And, oftentimes, I've even noticed too, readings, people might come with their own challenges. And sometimes people are very self-absorbed, I'm going, why is this happening to me? How come I'm being treated like this? And, when you take a step back to look beyond yourself, and actually even maybe lend a hand to somebody else, that where you shift the focus from yourself to other people or other things, you automatically feel better. That's why when people do charity work or help with different causes, or even as simple as helping out a friend, and then you learn later how you did help that friend, and they share their gratitude with you because of how you helped them, that comes back to you a million times in the happiness that you feel from that. So, you know, anytime you shift your focus from yourself, when you're feeling that way, and you direct it towards other things or other people, or you help somebody out, you always feel better.
Right, right. And I've also found too, opening myself up is really, very helpful too, because it always turns out that you're in the room with somebody, like you were saying, you learn something or you're going through something and somebody else is going through that same thing and they're feeling alone and isolated in that moment or in that issue. And then when you open up about it, you're both helping each other out.
Yes, isn't that the truth? Nobody wants to feel alone.
Right. Right,
Nobody
exactly.
wants to feel alone.
And that's a beautiful message that they're sharing with you, how things are going to move forward, because it is a scary time. Like you said, for a lot of people, nobody knows what's going on. The news is so, dramatically scaremongering right now. Everybody seems to be rattling a sword somewhere. And
yes, you know, I feel it's also very highly irresponsible of the media, and that's actually the environment, the place that I came from. Not news or broadcast, but nonetheless, I did come from the entertainment industry. But I feel it's highly, highly irresponsible of the media to portray the things that they do in the way that they do without affirming that for every bad thing that might be going on, there's a million things, good things that are happening. And they ought to share they ought to balance it out. I mean, life is about balance.
right,
And that was actually one of the first spiritual lessons I learned from my guides. Life is about balance. And right now, it's very imbalanced in the way things are reported. And so they ought to, it would be really responsible of them to bring things into greater balance in terms of how it is they report, because there are beautiful and good things happening all around us. And even when you can't see these beautiful things happening, energetically they are. In fact, the Federation of Light talks about that too. Energetically, things are shifting on the earth now into higher vibrations and frequencies of energy. So even though we may not be able to see things, there are things that are happening beautifully on an energetic level.
very nice. Yeah, because, and I think a lot more people are becoming aware, not only of their own energy level, but also how they're affecting, how the things that they do affect their energy level, how the things that they do affect their communities around them, and then what they need to do in order to go to the next level.
Yes, there certainly does seem to be an increased awareness out there. People wanting to understand things at a deeper level, to bring in greater meaning to their lives. And anytime you want to understand things at a deeper level, it's going to require that you sit in meditation, you go within, you talk to people like you or me, things along those lines, and only good comes from that.
Definitely, definitely. We do have a question if you wanted to divert really quick.
Sure.
Okay, we have Simran Mehta, I believe her name is. Her birthday, she just had a birthday actually, April 17th. I'm not sure what all information you need to know. And she wants,
Happy birthday.
yeah, and she wants to know about her job or financial status. She said it's very poor right now and she's suffering, and she wants to know a little bit of information about that.
Okay, all right, so let me just see. She does have angels around her that are trying to help her move forward, because it does feel like she's been stuck, or feelings of being stuck, not sure how to move forward, and also fear of moving forward. Okay, there's fear around Simran of moving forward because on some level, even though it's been uncomfortable being stuck, there's also been some level of comfort there. So her guidance is trying to work with her to move her away from fear and to help her see, rather instead of feeling fearful about what might not be able to happen in this process, because it feels like there's a lot of that kind of mental chatter going on within Simran's thought patterns. They're trying to move her to a place of thinking of the opportunities that are available and all the good that would come from new opportunities. So they're trying to work with her to shift her perspective and how she's seeing her life and also this process. Okay, so there is a little bit of healing that's needed there, because it also doesn't feel like she may have received the encouragement that she needed to be all that she can be growing up. Okay, so that you know, she ought not be hard on herself, because that can be hard to take some time to undo. Okay, however, moving forward, let's see. So that's what's going on with her on a personal level. On a spiritual level, her soul wanting to move forward, but yet resisting it at the same time. So there's a little bit of conflict there. It's this wanting to, knowing that she needs to, but then also resisting it at the same time because of things like fear and partially because of the conditioning that was around her growing up. All right. Now, let's see what they have to say about next steps for her. She also needs to get clear on what it is she wants to do, because right now it feels like it would be just throwing spaghetti up on the wall and seeing what sticks. So the guidance is saying she needs to be more strategic and hone in on what it is she wants to do, what her strengths are, because that's another thing. She doesn't really take note of where her strengths lie. So that's also part of her own growth there, is recognizing and acknowledging and then placing value on those strengths, because she has them, but she won't say she has them, or she doesn't feel like she has them. So these are some of the things that she needs to do in preparation for her job search, is understanding what her strengths are, recognizing them, valuing them, and then being more strategic in her search. Exactly what is it that she wants to pursue, and then stick to it, because she also lacks a little bit of commitment there. It's like she might make a little effort, but then she doesn't pursue it, you see. So they're saying there's some responsibility on her end too, to stick to that commitment of what it is she wants. Now, if she needs support, and it feels like she does need outside support to help her with some of the things that we're talking about, perhaps in the way of a therapist maybe, or even in the way of a career coach, okay? Because she needs a team around her that's going to be her cheerleaders, because I don't feel like she has that. And everybody needs to be cheered on in life. So she needs to have people around her that are going to continue to encourage her and cheer her on, and instill in her a can-do approach. You know, encourage her. You can do this. You're on the right path. You're doing great at what it is you're doing, and that kind of thing. Okay, so it seems like I can't give like a prediction on this is the job you're going to get in this time frame, because it's like first things first. There are some things she needs to take care of first in this process to be effective and productive in this search. Although I do see her in an office environment, and it feels like it could be financially based, so maybe in finance or something like that. And I feel like she's also very good, she's detail-oriented when she wants to be, which ties in nice to the numbers, if that's the direction she wants to head in. So, and it does, I feel that around her, that energy. So something financial, at the financial base, office setting. She's very good at details, crossing the, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. And if she's not actually been doing the numbers herself, maybe administration or management of some sort in the financial arena. That's what's coming up for her right now. So I will leave her with that.
Well, that was great. So definitely, I hope that helped you, Simran.
All
So
the best, Simran, and very happy birthday to you. And you got some great qualities and great strengths. And my wish is for you to see that about yourself.
thank you so much. And I am just asking right now if anyone else would like to get a mini reading from you today. So now when you're channeling readings, when you're channeling information, how does it feel to you? Does it come tumbling through? Are you clairaudient, clairvoyant, claircognizant? How does that work for you?
Yeah, well, I feel a lot. I feel a lot. So I'm heavy with the clairsentience. And then I also hear a lot too. And for example, with Simran, boy, her guidance had a lot to say. So, it's not always like that, but it's not always like that in terms of, they go on and on and on. But I feel like the messages that came through are very important for her to hear. And that's another thing too I'll comment on is that it's not always about the prediction. In fact,
Right.
it's very rarely about the prediction. It's more about the guidance. What it is that people need to hear that's going to help them along on their path. That's a very important part of someone's growth, but then also in terms of helping them to shape and create their own lives. So it's not like, a psychic telling you this is how your life is going to be, and that's the way it is. You can always read energy and give predictions around that, but the guidance I find is what's most important. Like, for example, with Simran, there are aspects of herself that need some attention. It's not just about the end result, although the job is very important, don't get me wrong, I understand the importance behind that. But there are aspects about herself that are important for her to recognize, to understand, and then to also look into further.
Right. That would help her to get a better job, I'm almost feeling as well, because once she, really accepts her own value, then she's going to shift like everything. Her job search is going to shift, and
Yes.
she's going to really kind of look in she's going to feel like a different person.
That's correct, and she'll be able to hone in on what it is she, wants to go after, because she will have recognized by that time what her own strengths are. That's a very key element in terms of the path that she's on right now.
Right. Well, and I think you really expressed something that is so important for people who come to one of us for a reading or healing work, is that a lot of times it's not about the prediction. It's not about saying this date, this time, this company. It's more about what you need to do to get to a better place.
There you go. That's right. Because ultimately, we want to be happy. We want to, we want to be in a place of happiness. And so it's always a process, though, to get to that place. And sometimes we need a little support in getting there. And so that's what the guidance does.
Definitely, definitely. And we're not, I think that people too think that, or want sometimes to give us the responsibility. Like, if you tell me
Yes.
what to do,
With
I'll
that,
do that. Oh, like if you tell me what to do, or, oh my gosh, you told me everything was going to turn out okay. And so I kind of fudged this and I slid through that, and then it didn't turn out okay.
You know, that's so funny that you say that, because I actually just wrote that down as my next blog entry is quick fixes. I did that actually earlier today. It just came to me because I've had some experiences recently in sessions where when I look back at the session, sometimes people want quick fixes. Not sometimes, a lot of times, most all of the time, people want quick fixes. And that's not what this journey is about. Because there is, it is a process. And nobody's handed things on a silver platter. I mean, sometimes they are, but, you know, generally speaking, we're not just, you know, handed everything over on a silver platter and then all is well. No, we have to go through a process to get there. And so, you know, nothing is a quick fix, and it's not meant to be, because it is our journey. And that's the way our soul grows and learns, is through that process. It's not going to learn by me saying something to someone else or you saying something to somebody else. It's got to go through its own process and its own learning to get from point A to point B.
Right. And it's not like beam me over, Scotty. You kind of,
Right.
you know, because I do think that there's, like you said, quick fix, instant gratification, the result today or tomorrow from what we do today.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And you'll be a better person because of it. You'll be a stronger person because of it, because you went through that process and you did what you were supposed to do to get there.
Right, right. And that you took the responsibility on yourself, you know.
You hit on another very important thing. Everybody's responsible for their own wellness and their own lives and the lives that they create for themselves. There's responsibility there. There's absolutely responsibility there.
Right. Now, now this is kind of an interesting question given some stuff that's going on, but how do you feel like the guidance that your angels or your guides, do you feel like they're ever going to tell somebody to just do an about face, or they're going to say, no, that just doesn't fit for me, and the angels will say, but this is what you're supposed to do?
Well, you know, when I work with the angelic realm, they're really no nonsense. And it's like they really cut through the clutter. And so they will cut through it and give very direct pieces of guidance. And, you know, whether or not somebody chooses to accept that guidance is their choice. But if they're going to ask for guidance around something, and we're working with the angels to receive that guidance, they'll get it. It would be very direct and very to the point. But sometimes I feel like that's what people need, because sometimes people need grounding in that way, you know, with very messages that are forthright, you know, because a lot of times people during times of challenge or struggle, people's emotions and their thoughts are kind of scattered. They're all over the place, right? And that's where their vision gets clouded. So I've noticed that the angels will come through and boom, they'll get right to the chase there and deliver a very direct message. And I feel like sometimes what happens is the recipient is like, it kind of grounds them in that moment. And it's like, oh, wow, okay, you know, and then they really have something to think about from that, you know. Right. So, yeah, so that's what I noticed with the messaging from the angels. You know, it's really no nonsense. It's all about, you know, one's spiritual growth and the guidance around that.
Right. And I found too that they really kind of, like you were saying earlier, they kind of nudge you in the direction. They open doors and close other doors so that you're really kind of not up and put into a different place, but really kind of gently corralled, if you would want to say, into a different location.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it can be nice and gentle. Other times it can be abrupt. Abrupt, depending on what's needed.
True, because sometimes I know me personally, I can be a little bit, you know, no, I want to do this my way. And they're like, well, sorry, not today, but, it's.
Yeah, like I mean, I know, for example, when I was in transition, I was looking for a job, and so I was going through the interview process, sending out the resumes, etc. And then at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, I was getting meditation. You might be really happy doing this kind of work full time. So it's like subtle messages, and I was still allowed to apply and apply to all those jobs I wanted to, talk to all the people I wanted to, get all the references I wanted to, go through the interviews, but then nothing was happening. And over a
Right.
course of time, you feel like something is not right about the situation, because by now, in my past history, I would have landed a job a long time ago, and I have all the right requirements and everything behind me. I should have gotten that job. So something's up. So sometimes they'll let you, kind of come to your own conclusion about that, because you have no other options to work with. The door's closed, and it's like, well, I'm not left with anything else. I guess I better take a look at what I am left with. And what I am left with is that subtle message that they gave me earlier on. You might be happy doing this work. And then you go, well, maybe I ought to try doing this work. And you try doing this work, and then the doors start to open and things fall into place. And all the support that you need comes in to support you, because you're living the life you're meant to live. So yes, sometimes it can be very abrupt and very uncomfortable. Other times they kind of let you go along and kind of come to your own conclusion about things.
Right, exactly. I'm trying to think. Is you went to someone, do you feel the energy? So if somebody came to you and they had a question or a reading or something like that, and you were just like, wow, this person really needs to be doing work like what we're doing, would you kind of would you tell them that? Would you wait for them to bring it up to you?
Well, what I find, I'm going to position it this way. I was just at the Edgar Cayce Association of Research and Enlightenment. I did a psychic fair there in Virginia Beach. And I had a couple of people come to me where they sat down, they didn't say a thing, and their guidance just started coming through about their own spiritual journey and development, where they are on their path, confirming a lot of what it is they were trying to figure out about their lives, the direction, are they supposed to be doing this work? So I just deliver the messages that the guidance gives, but I've noticed most recently, under those circumstances, when somebody sits down and they are supposed to be doing more and more of this work, their guidance just comes through. So they don't even ask the questions. I just give what the messages are, and then they're like, oh, I can't believe, that's what's coming through, because that's what I've been wondering about or thinking about. I mean, ultimately, the decision is theirs, right? Whether or not they want to do this work or not, but usually it's a calling. So you'll feel compelled, you'll feel drawn to it, you'll feel you want to do it. Whether or not you do it full time or part time is a whole another issue. But usually it's a calling, and you feel that that's where you belong. So that's what I've noticed most recently with the people that I've worked with.
Oh, interesting. Now, the Edward Cayce.
Edgar Cayce.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I knew I was going to mess up his name. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, did you go through courses Or how did you get involved with them? How did your work with them begin? And
Well, I had to go through a series of interviews and tests. So they had me read for their people over there, and I was interviewed, and then they look at your work themselves, I guess, through your website and all that other kind of stuff. I had to go through a series of interviews and tests to be a part of, to be able to read at their events. And I, for anybody who is thinking about going or interested in going, it's really a beautiful place and a beautiful campus in a beautiful location, and they've got just phenomenal teachers that go there and courses that you can take, and just the setting alone is so very nice. I encourage you, if there are people that are thinking about doing that, to check it out. I'm going to be working some more of their fairs in the coming months this summer. I'll be posting those events on my events page on my website. So if you're interested in checking it out or getting a reading from me there, you can visit lovefirst.info.
oh, that'd be fabulous. Yeah.
That.
I'm going to put your events calendar on the page as well so that people can find you.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, just so for people listening out there, I don't know if there's anybody in California listening, but if you are, I will be coming back to California in June, the first 2 weeks of June, and holding sessions in my Love First office in Encino, California. And then you can always find me on Psychic World too. I do my very best to log in online every day, and so I'm available for immediate readings there too. Of course, I love working with the people that come through the site as well.
Perfect. Beautiful. Do you have any final thoughts for us that you'd like to share? Because we're about to wrap it up now, and
if there's anything that I can do to help support someone on their path, I love the work that I do, and I would love to work with anybody who needs help. And you can find me at Psychic World daily. So look for me there, and I guess that's really all. I hope that some of the channeled messages that I've included on my blog post, I hope that these are inspiring and encouraging messages, because we need them. So that's what I'd like to conclude with.
oh, thank you so much.
I'm really, really excited about this last hour, spending this time with everybody.
Definitely. And we would love to have you back sometime, and we can, talk about how things evolve with the channeled messages. And, because I was reading those today, and I was just like, oh, those are so fabulous. I love reading them. So
I know. I love doing the mini readings. They're so much fun. So yeah, I'd love to come back and just shoot, we could do an hour mini reading.
okay. Perfect. Well,
thank you to the Psychic World for having me. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate the time you took and getting to know you and your work a little bit more. And of course, this will be on our YouTube page for, if you wanted to watch it again, or if you wanted to tell your friends about your reading that you got, or refer your friends for a reading the next time. So, and again, Kimberly Thalken, she's on psychicworld.com, and you can also find her on her own website at www.lovefirst.com, right?
.info, INFO, like information, lovefirst.info. And I will definitely be sharing the link so that the people in my group can listen to it as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks again, Kimberly, and have a fabulous evening.
Thank you. You too. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. It was really, really nice to have Kimberly Thalken here. And like I said, and she said, if you wanted to get a reading from her, you can find her at psychicworld.com. And we would love to see you there. until next time, everybody, take care. Many blessings to you. Have a fabulous evening. Bye-bye.